Hey, let's talk about how to make a better future for ourselves. That's today's topic. Hi there, I'm Janice Wheeler. I'm the president of the Art of Management. We're a consulting company that helps healthcare practitioners grow their practices, and we've been doing that for 32 years. And I have to say that right now, the future is mixed. We have gone through a very hard time with COVID for many people, and many practitioners have suffered through this, as well as many businesses, as well as individuals working in all of those locations. And we get hit with bad news every which way, whether you turn on the TV or you're listening to the radio or you're talking to friends or you go on the internet. Any of these things nowadays just contain bad news, with a little sprinkling of good news once in a while that you really have to listen for, right? Now, you have a business, I presume, if you're watching this, or you work in a business and are thinking of starting up one maybe. So how can you actually make yourself successful and have a better future against all of those odds and all of that noise that we're hearing? That's today's topic. All right, so I think the first thing to do is to realize that, you can sit back and be a spectator and just watch all this bad news and have it go in and kind of make you a little sad, or maybe you've thought of doing a business, but you never seem to make time for it and get around to it. And so you feel a little sad or down about that. So let's look at what you can do to make a better future. Now, there are different steps that you need to take. The first one is, what is a better future for you? Like, what do you envision it being like? Maybe you can't change the world at this point with all the things going on in the pandemic and stuff like that. But what can you change? So you have to look at that as your first thing. It could be something about yourself you want to change. You want to learn a language. You want to change your hairstyle. You want to start your own business on the side, or my future son-in-law is a baker of amazing cakes, and that's his side gig. And they're doing amazing things. They have a website now and all sorts of things. So despite anything that's going on, he's creating a better future. I think the thing that you have to take into consideration first is, which area of your life do you want to change? So personal, or you want to change or set up some new idea for the family, move, get a better house, travel to another country, learn something about it. Maybe you want to change your business or fix your business up. Maybe you want to do something for mankind as a general thing, like work for UNICEF part-time and raise funds or something. I mean, there's so many opportunities. It actually is exciting. So you want to imagine something that you could be passionate about in that area. Just pick one for starters. Don't try and take on all areas of your life at one time. So I think the very first step then is picking an area or something, and then imagining what it would look like in an ideal world. Like, okay, how big do you want it to be? How is this a long-term project, a short-term project? That kind of thing. You actually want to give yourself some parameters, and that's the first step, because you can't even really get going on the steps of achieving it until you've nailed it. What would you be passionate about, and what do you want to do? Okay? Treat the future like an empty playing field, and you can actually build anything you want on that playing field. It is yours to build. So figure out what it is, write it down, flesh it out as much as you can, like really try and work out, like, what would it look like, and how big would it be, and how much money would it take? I don't know. Don't get down about anything. Just sort of put it out there and see, put it down. I'm going to give you an example of this. My husband and I did this many years ago, way back, before we started our business 32 years ago. And he was systems manager for a very large soft drink company in Canada. And we thought, wow, wouldn't it be fun if that company was to send us to different countries where they have branches and get them computerized, because most of them weren't yet fully computerized. And they would pay all our expenses and we would get to travel on the weekends, whatever country we landed in. So we thought, wow, that'd be really cool. But we didn't tell anybody. And then suddenly, within a month, this executive came from the international office in the States and asked my husband, would you like to put in computers in different countries and travel? And he goes, well, yeah. We were kind of thinking about that already. And the guy was kind of surprised that we'd even contemplated that, because they hadn't even asked us yet. So that was fun. So, away he went back to New York head office. And, we're waiting to find out what happens from that conversation. And then I was in Florida doing a course with some other people, and one of the ladies there was telling me what it's like to live in Mexico City, which is where she's from. And we thought, wow, I thought, wow, that sounds really interesting. Mexico, the people are very friendly, very family oriented. I would love to see the sights and the pyramids and all those different things. And wouldn't that be a great place to go? Although we were kind of aiming for Dusseldorf, in Germany and Japan and Australia, but she made Mexico City sound really fun. And when I came back home, I told my husband about it. And we get a call within a couple of days saying, we're going to move you to Mexico City first. And we started laughing. Oh my God, I have to watch my thoughts. Because you know what? The moral of the story is, you are the one that plan your future. And so the thoughts that you have and the decisions that you make actually can push you exactly where you wanted to go, because you wanted to go there. And that was very humorous to us, and we ended up living there, and it was very fun. I learned Spanish, and the company paid for a tutor for me. My husband had a translator at work, and he had me at home, so we traveled a lot. It was great. And so the moral of the story was, we had these thoughts and decisions that we had made about what we would like to do, and bam, they happened. And it was quite an adventure. All right, well, you can do similar things about your practice. Maybe I've had clients who go, I'd really like to have my own location, and bam, a property comes up really nearby that's available, that's perfect, and their lease is up in a year, which is just enough time to get this whole place fixed up and ready to go. And there you go, because he thought about it and had the idea of it. And then you can't see it if you don't see it inside first. Maybe that's another story in itself. But that's the first thing you need to do, is decide what you want and where you want and so on. And the next thing that you want to do is you actually want to now write down the steps as you can see them. Just rough them out at first. And of course you can always fix them and add to them and so on as the brainchild grows in you. So write down the steps, like, what would it take to move to Mexico? Where would we live? All of those good things. You would have to work out steps. Do you need a passport? Well, here's another example. I have a client who wanted to live in Africa for 2 months to replace somebody in their clinic who had to go off for a surgery or something like that. And she wanted to take her husband and her 10-year-old and 12-year-old. Well, she's the only person working in her practice. She can't just walk away for 2 months. She needs somebody else to take care of her practice. So we got her fully booked, and then 2 fully booked, and we got an associate to come in and take the overflow and then take some of the others, and kept on marketing till that person was fully booked and our client was fully booked, and then got another associate. And as that associate got more and more booked, our client backed away. So she was more just running the show. And it got to a point where the 2 associates and all the staff were fully trained by us. And she was able to take her husband and her 2 kids and go off to Africa in this little tiny village, got paid in chickens and eggs. And she said it was so amazing, we didn't want to come home. But there was a lot of planning. The kids needed to do home study for 2 months, and her husband had to get an LOA from his work. So, there are steps, and vaccinations were needed, and of course passports and all of those things were required, like in what clothing should we take and would we wear it down there? How hot is it? And then she set up a website that her staff would, from her practice, would upload the stats every week, because we taught her how to manage by stats from a distance. And so she was able to run her practice from a distance on a weekly basis, and came home and she had a practice that had done very well indeed while she was away. So these things are possible. You just have to take the steps to accomplish them. So there you go. Maybe I've given you some inspiration to look at your life and see what area you want to make better, because the future will be as better as you make it. All right, we can't fix the whole planet maybe right now, but we can do something in our own arenas. So have some fun with this, and you can always give me a call and let me know how it went. I love hearing feedback stories. Meanwhile, be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we have one of our own, and we have playlists on different topics, and I have like 120 or 30 videos up there. And if you like the video today, share it with your friends. Send it to them and say, hey, you might find this interesting. And you can always give me a like, because that makes me very happy. So that's all I've got to say. Oh, no, I want to say one more thing. And that is that I offer to do a free in-depth practice analysis. It's 3 hours long, and we get down and dirty about your practice, and we look at what the potential of it is. And it doesn't cost you a thing to have this meeting with me. Some people like what they hear about our services, and they want to go ahead and have our help to fix those things. And others are like, sayonara, and that's okay with me too. I just have fun doing them. So you can also give me a shout for that. I'd love it. Okay, bye for now.
To get your practice analyzed, contact the Art of Management at 416-466-6217.